What's the best relationship between a mortgage broker and an independent estate agency? Talk to me.
Okay, I can easily answer that in terms of there isn't a best route. There are quite a number of routes, and it's up to the estate agents to work out which one's right for them.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is you can have an independent mortgage broker, one-man band who is based in your office, who can provide an exceptional service that gets on with your negotiators. They just get it. They're good at training.
Are they an employee or are they self-employed?
They're predominantly self-employed. And the reason why I say that is because of the amount of regulation that the estate agency would need to go through in order to basically start another business. And that's exactly what it would be. It'd be another business. They have to have FCA approval. And a lot of estate agents, I was at a RAN conference a couple of years ago, and there was an estate agent there that was raving about how much income they had, and they said, you know, we're fantastic, over 6 offices, we're generating £100,000 a month, and it's, you know, everything's great. And another agent was there saying, well, we're not getting £100,000 a month. I really don't understand why. And you have to compare eggs with eggs. This guy that was generating £100,000 a month had their own financial services firm. So therefore, the £100,000 a month was the turnover the business was generating. What they didn't say was obviously how much it costs to run that business. Okay, where effectively the other agent was employing the services of mortgage broker, and effectively their income was the profit. Yeah, so that was pure profit. This was turnover. So you know, effectively you have to look at both angles. So I think the biggest thing is that an agent has to look at what's right for them, and it may be you've got a single office branch, and you can work really well with a firm outsourcing, providing leads via telephone based service, and your broker can react quickly. They've got good administration support, but just as well, it could be right for you that you've got high footfall through your branch, and you need a firm, a guy or gal in the office performing the business.
What other options? I mean, I've come across some, I think call it Robo advice, where you can actually put it on your website, or is that a good option?
Okay, so Robo advice doesn't exist as yet per se. Robo advice, there's not been one Robo advice purchase transaction that's gone
And when you
through.
say robo advice, that's basically where mortgage arranger hasn't touched it. It's just been automated.
That's right, for automated, where clients are making their own decision. And the FCA did run a sandbox with firms that had some technology in this sector, and they were looking to test this technology to see whether it was right for the consumer. I believe at present that's been shelved. I may be wrong, but I haven't seen anything that's come out of that I can see is going to be industry changing. I think the biggest thing that's going to change the market there is open banking. I think with open banking,
What does open banking mean to those that don't know it?
so open banking is going to be enabling your bank statements, and there's going to be probably third-party companies coming launching that are going to give you the power to provide all your banking information directly to a lender, okay, or to a brokering firm, but probably directly to the lender. In which case, then all the elements that a bank would need to make a decision are pretty much there. I.e., they could have HMRC verification of income, they can see your bank statements, they can see the credit check information from the credit reports, they've got the automated ID check-in. So effectively, they could make instant decisions. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, and it is coming.
That's where the future of mortgage arranging advising and broking is going, is it?
I would say that that's the technology side.
Okay.
I'm definitely against the fact that that's where it's going, because I think the advice process is so important, and there's so many different avenues that you need to discuss with the client beforehand.
Okay, but so let's bring it back to the original question, which is what's the best? So you've got the self-employed model, you've got the employed model. What else is there out there?
You can have an employed model, and obviously the advantages of that is that you've got
How do you think
repeat
it's
business.
split in the country? The employed model versus the self-employed model.
I think there's a lot more in the independent estate agency, a lot more self-employed
Okay.
mortgage brokers in the market.
So, what advice would you give to bosses on how to get the best out of their self-employed mortgage arrangers?
Engage with them. I mean, with the tenant fee ban, I think we're at a point where we look at all of the revenue streams, and we start to think, are we getting value for our money? I say our money. The good thing about contracting in mortgage revenue is that there is no cost to it, but that doesn't mean that we still can't get more value. So what value are we getting? I think that's really important, is to have a look at, speak to the brokering.
And is that in pure monetary terms or other types of value?
Other types of value, without a doubt. I think the monetary term is one thing, but it's about education in terms of understanding the market. It's about automation. It's about transparency. It's about admin support.
I mean, what would you say to an estate agency boss who basically has got a decent mortgage arranger but is not very proactive? What advice would you give them? You know, there's a huge database there of people on the mailing list, applicants.
I think that really goes back down to what they're employed to do, and having that conversation at the very beginning. If you have that conversation, that you have an advisor in your branch, and they're an active member of that team. They're attending morning meetings. They're there to challenge. They're there to look at what valuations have come on and question the lister on that. Then that needs to be set out day one, and then at least the mortgage advisor knows. You know, I think that's the biggest problem, is that there's not enough communication in terms of what am I here to do. You know, firms like ourselves, we provide an outbound service, so therefore we're not there challenging, looking at the list of what they've done.
What do you mean an outbound service? What does that actually look like?
So an online service where leads are keyed online, similar to this conveyancing model, where you'd key the leads online, and you'd have highly qualified mortgage advisors contacting applicants, vendors, landlords, and discussing their mortgage services, and which can be tracked, and admin support, etc.
So are you reliant on the neg actually uploading it then?
We are. You're reliant on the neg, lister, valuer, but also you're providing regular information on the market, giving them tools as to how to engage in that conversation.
Maybe in the next video we could talk about the 3 biggest value adds that a good mortgage advisor can add to an estate agency.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.